Everyone assumes that I love politics, the contest of it, the personal drama, the real tests of character, of courage that politics often demands. But there's one part of politics that I truly detest. It's the corrupting, corrosive, humanly destructive conceit that the ends justify the means, which brings me to Donald Trump and what happened today. To say there is no connection between what Trump has said about Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Eric Holder, John Brennan, and CNN, and the thinking of the person who sent those pipe bombs is foolhardy. We're about to mark Halloween, and one of our great traditions it is, because it's all about saying boo, of giving someone a little fright so they can enjoy the moment of relief that follows, the realization it wasn't real. Sending pipe bombs isn't saying boo. It's political terrorism. Saying that people are evil isn't saying you disagree with them. It's saying we would be better off without them. The means don't justify the ends. If the means are stirring up attempted pipe bombings of the people you're demeaning. And as of tonight, NBC News is reporting that explosive devices were sent to at least 5 public figures. The similarity of the pipe bombs, as well as the packagings containing them, indicate a carefully planned but ultimately, fortunately, unsuccessful endeavor. But it's the nature of the intended recipients that suggests this is an act of political terrorism. And that's because the targets are a who's who of President Trump's enemies list. The first bomb was found in the mailbox of billionaire activist George Soros on Monday. And today, bombs went to the Obamas and the Clintons in Washington and New York. They were intercepted by the Secret Service. A bomb intended for former Attorney General Eric Holder went to a bogus return address, landing in Florida at the office of U.S. Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Meanwhile, a suspicious package sent to Congresswoman Maxine Waters was intercepted at a mail facility, but investigators have not confirmed its contents. And a bomb addressed to former CIA Director John Brennan was delivered to CNN's headquarters up in New York. CNN was covering the wave of suspicious packages when they were forced to evacuate their building. And here's what happened that moment this morning.
These are no longer suspicious packages. The FBI is saying that they were rudimentary but functional. That means they were explosive devices. And to have projectiles, I mean, that sounds like a fire alarm here. We'll keep you posted on that. But to have projectiles, that is a feature you will often see in bombs that terrorists use in Afghanistan, elsewhere. ISIS has used that kind of bomb before.
Okay, we're going to jump in. There's a fire alarm here.
You might have heard it in the background. We're going to find out what the latest is
we'll be right back.
At CNN. We're going to be right back.
Reacting to the news today, the president of CNN, Jeff Zucker, blasted the White House, saying, quote, there is a total and complete lack of understanding at the White House about the seriousness of their continued attacks on the media. The president, and especially the White House press secretary, should understand that their words matter. Thus far, they have shown no comprehension of that. While all of the intended recipients of the bombs have been on the receiving end of the president's attacks, Trump held his tongue today in addressing the developments. Here he is.
As we speak, the packages are being inspected by top explosive experts, and a major federal investigation is now underway. We will spare no resources or expense in this effort. And I just want to tell you that in these times, we have to unify. We have to come together and send one very clear, strong, unmistakable message that acts or threats of political violence of any kind have no place in the United States of America.
Well, as of today, the FBI is still investigating, and senior bomb technicians briefed on the case said the aspiring bomber had all the components, by the way, necessary to set off a successful explosion. So it was a real bomb. And joining me right now is Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, Susan Del Percio, Republican strategist, Malcolm Nance, MSNBC terrorism analyst, and Shannon Pettypiece is a White House correspondent from Bloomberg News. I want to start with Malcolm on this. This is your line of country, Malcolm, and NBC's determined that this had all the makings of a bomb. It could have killed people.
Well, you're absolutely right. What we had happen today was what we would call a bombing campaign. And let's not make any mistake. This is a terrorist bombing campaign. These were attempted murders of high-ranking figures, and apparently the target set was one particular political party. It remains to be seen what the motivation of the bomber actually was. And the most important thing that can happen right now is this bomber needs to be tracked down. He has not just the devices that he sent, but he has a bomb factory somewhere, which may be someplace dangerous. And he may be a threat to law enforcement like we saw in the bomber earlier this year, who blew himself up when police tried to get him. But that's what we're up against right now. The attempted murder of senior political operatives, former government operatives in the United States.
You said there's a question mark still in your head about the motive. Isn't it politics?
Well, apparently, we have this saying, the target is the tactic. So when you look at the individuals that he tried to target, he selected these package bombs, some of which were delivered by courier, one of which may have been delivered by hand himself. And then knowing that the bomb would go out and be screened by screening facilities, it tells us that he really wanted an intimidation campaign. I say he, we don't know whether it's he or she, but he wanted an intimidation campaign that was really targeted against at least half of this nation.
Let me go to the Senator. Thank you, Senator Blumenthal. Thank you for joining us. We seem to have you on too often on these occasions, but we want you here. This is what it is to me. Is apparently the definition of what happened here is the list of those intended targets. I mean, George Soros, who goes to bed at night worrying about him except somebody on the right who knows he's on the left and doesn't like him because of it? Or who goes to bed worried about Eric Holder, who's not even AG anymore? He's mad at him because he's on the progressive left and he wants to do things about voter suppression and they don't like that. Or it's Hillary, lock her up Hillary. Or these are the people they always dream of hurting. Your thoughts, at least politically.
Make no mistake, the targets here were political. This act of terrorism, a terrorist attack, was not only on those individuals and groups, but also on our democracy and our Constitution, a classic instance of political intimidation, inciting fear, not just doing destruction to them, but potentially to innocent people who may have been handling the mail and set off those bombs. If the president's really serious about leading and unifying, he knows what not to say, what not to do, including not condoning or supporting a congressman who body slams a member of the press, not condoning and supporting terrorists who kill people in Charlottesville, not supporting his rallying supporters tonight who yell, lock her up, and not encouraging them to go after members of the press. His trademarks have been bullying and intimidation, and vitriol can breed violence.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.